Hare Krishna, Radharani.
Go ahead, Mataji.
No, you go, Mataji. You go.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji. This is Kaumodakidasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kaumodika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. And all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Das Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji. All glories Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Radha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Radha Boyapati Atma Maya from Austin, Texas. Please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Guru Maharaj, all goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Damodar Prabhuji and Atma Maya Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, and all glories to assembled devotees. This is Radha from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Radha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda, nice to see you, Radhe.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Sri and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Lalitangi Radha Devidasi.
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shama Gauri Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Sham Gauri Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. This is Dinabandhu Guru Das and Alita Devi Dasi from Sandy Ridge.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Sorry, I could not get your name properly. Thank you so much for joining, Prabhuji and Mataji. Is there anybody else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Preeti Vilasni Dasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasni Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, my name is Pratibha. I am from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. That's it.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Pratibha Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Are you joining for the first time?
Mataji, I think Maharaj is here, so we should start recording.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Today we are very fortunate to have His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Swami Maharaj. Dandvat Pranam Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving your very valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening on this topic. Glories of Lalita Sakhi and Srimati Radharani. I would like to hand over the call to Sevanand Chaitanya Prabhuji to give the introduction about the Maharaj. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you there?
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. And Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Vaishnavas. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Swami Maharaj, who will give the morning class on the glories of Lalita Sakhi and Radharani on the eve of Radhashtami. And thank you, Maharaj, for your valuable time and association in enlightening all of us today. And before handing over the call, let me give a brief introduction about Maharaj. His Holiness Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj is a senior full-time monk in the renounced order of Sannyasa and was awarded the Sannyasa initiation by His Holiness Japa Swami Maharaj in 2009. Maharaj is a chemical engineering graduate from the National Institute of Technology at Trichy, South India, with a soaring and colorful past, having won awards for most outstanding student, cultural activities like drama, debate, and as a best singer and guitarist at a national level. Maharaj got attracted to ISKCON during his MTech student days at IIT Mumbai and joined ISKCON in the 80s and got his first initiation in 1983. Right at the start of a lucrative career back in the mid-80s, inspired by the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, he summarily disengaged himself from worldly life to become a full-time monk, spreading the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and glories of Lord Shri Krishna worldwide. And his focus is currently on bringing the wealth of that knowledge, especially to the future of the world, our youth. As a director of the Bhakti Vedanta...
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Haribol. Jai Ho.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Am I a little late?
No, Maharaj. We're just giving a small introduction.
Can't hear you. 1 second. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, Maharaj, you're audible.
Yeah. Sorry. Got tied up with some other engagement.
Sure,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna. Very happy to see all of you. I see many familiar faces. Haribol, how are you, Satish?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Lalitangi and Satish, how are you?
Yeah, good, Maharaj.
And there is also Radharani from Delhi here. Haribol. Welcome.
Welcome, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
We are very fortunate to have your association today and hear from you today.
Jai Ho.
We are in the midst of reading a small, very small introduction to your bright and glorious and a dedicated life. We are just about to finish that, Maharaj.
Okay, go ahead. I should be hearing this.
As a director of the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust Kerala division, Maharaj has led the project to translate and launch the Srimad Bhagavatam in Malayalam, which has helped grow ISKCON significantly in Kerala. In addition to his extensive preaching and inspiring youth to take Krishna conscious, Maharaj is doing many senior roles in the ISKCON, and he is the ISKCON Zonal Secretary for Kerala and West Tamil Nadu and Deputy GBC for Worldwide ISKCON. Maharaj is the chairman of the international outreach effort for the GBC strategic planning team, and many more, like the member of ISKCON India Bureau, a regional governing body for ISKCON, and Turiya Academy, etc. Under the able guidance of Maharaj, who is also the temple president of Sri Jagannath Mandir ISKCON, Coimbatore, a magnificent temple of Sri Radha Krishna, the 8-acre site of ISKCON is coming up, and the temple would also include a center for Vedic and cultural education, museum, cultural center, restaurant, dining halls. Recently, I visited Coimbatore and I saw that project. It was very, very wonderfully coming up. And thank you, Maharaj, once again for a valuable time and association and enlightening all of us today. And handing over the class to you.
Haribol. These introductions make me feel very nervous because a lot of it is hype, maybe.
No.
And also the great responsibility of having to live up to it while given the responsibility for speaking to you about a totally esoteric subject like Lalita and Radharani, etc. All this is creating anxiety in my mind. So therefore I should offer prayers. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaura Hari. Very happy to be here with all of you on this nice meeting. It's a virtual meeting, as people call it. It's a meeting virtually with all of you, but they don't know that we are using the virtual facility for speaking something absolute and real. And that is the wonderful aspect of the Krishna consciousness movement as established by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Our experiences need not be virtual. The meeting may be virtual, but Krishna consciousness is absolute. Krishna Bhakti is absolute. So what we hear is an absolute experience. So I think this is an amazing facility. I was just hearing 3 days back that Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he did not oppose the British very much. In fact, he appreciated what the British did in India. So that was a little strange to me. I said, why? And then I looked up and I also saw that, yeah, I mean, he didn't speak, he didn't join the regular clan of people fighting for freedom and everything. He had a different understanding. He appreciated the British for all that they did. And I came to know that he liked that they put railways inside, he liked that he did this and etc. Then the inner reason was, he said, all this can be used in spreading Krishna consciousness, so it's good. He could see and foresee a future where all these wonderful material advancement could be utilized and they will be very, very useful in spreading Krishna consciousness. So all glories to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all glories to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, all glories to Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and our entire parampara of amazingly resourceful, amazingly powerful personalities who have worked so hard. And those followers who are still working hard to bring Krishna consciousness to everybody else, just like all of you are also working hard to digest Krishna consciousness deeply, to inculcate those practices deeply, to give this message to others. So all glories to all of you devotees at Charlotte. I was there and on Lalitangi's invitation, and I think I stayed at the house of Shyama Gauri, who I don't see here now. And she has been following me up. Oh, there is Shyama Gauri, okay. She has been following me up, and I actually never knew that this is the topic, by the way. I was busy looking at the dates, and I thought we'll discuss the topics later, and I forgot to discuss the topic. But I did know it is something to do with, some exotic and esoteric subject matter like Lalita and Vishaka and Radharani, etc. So, but this morning only I really seriously looked into it. And truly speaking, I'm not an expert at speaking on esoteric subject matters like Lalita and her activities and etc., etc. But however, I would touch upon some of these things, make an effort to touch upon. And what really got me thinking and thoughtful is, well, these topics may be esoteric, but these are very vital to a deeper understanding of the tattva of Krishna consciousness. And I think that I would like to dwell a little bit more in my own realization about these things. On the opening, I like to recollect something that is useful instruction. In Prabhupada's life, I often quote this, that Prabhupada was accosted by secretaries saying that there is a couple who are donors, life veteran members who want to see you. And they came to meet Prabhupada, and instantly they asked him, Swamiji, we came to meet you, please tell us about Rasa Leela. And Prabhupada, just avoided the whole question and started speaking about many other things. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your business? What do you do at home? How many kids you have? All the regular stuff. And then after some time, again, they reminded him, said, Swamiji, we actually came to hear about Rasa Leela. So the second time, Prabhupada said, I don't know Rasa Leela. And then he went ahead and spoke to them again about everything else. And this couple for the third time asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, actually, please tell us about Rasa Leela. At that time, Prabhupada got very serious. His face turned very serious. He got up and he said, I don't know Rasa Leela, and left. And left. So here we are speaking freely about Lalita, speaking freely about Radha with great freedom. So I just wanted to say that these are definitely topics that are very deep, and I personally don't find myself qualified to swim in that depth of understanding. But we can always understand it at the depth that we are qualified to. We can read things, and a lot of the reading that we do, we exchange. It's a world of cut and paste from the internet, from the books, from here, there. I heard this, I say this to others, he hears and says this to others. And we can have exchange of information. But all information doesn't actually become knowledge to you. And all knowledge doesn't turn into realization. And all the realization doesn't actually become experience. There are depths in understanding leading up to an experience. When a person who has an experience speaks about that experience, then it's true, valuable, and 100% correct. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is writing his books based on his ecstatic experience of Krishna consciousness. You see, and we can read the books. That is our sadhana. We can engage in spiritual activity and devotional service like he has advised us, and that will give us realization about the knowledge that we have acquired from his books. And those realization will push us further in our surrender, in our taste of chanting and understanding Krishna consciousness, and we can delve deeper. And this is like a spiral that actually goes down deeper and deeper and takes us into a deep understanding. So different devotees have different levels of understanding. And we can discuss it at various levels. There is in this context, there's a very good discussion in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, wherein it is mentioned that Krishna promised, Ye yata mam prapadyante tangs tathaiva bhajami aham. Mama vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. As you serve and come towards me, I shall reciprocate with you. He said that, but he failed to do that in the case of the gopis. It's mentioned. He couldn't reciprocate with them. It's mentioned that he was a failure in carrying out that instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, that he will exchange with you equivalently with the gopis. Because to the gopis he said, Na paraye aham. I am not able to return it to you, your love. So even Krishna couldn't compete and keep up with the gopis' devotion and the experience that they were having. What to speak of all of us? Still, this is like a precursor setting for what we're going to discuss very briefly. That's the level of experience of the gopis. That is why Krishna is so attracted to what Radharani is experiencing. And the best way to understand the gopis and Radharani and Lalita, Vishaka and everybody is to understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because I am not able to reciprocate, which means that you are experiencing something far greater than me, that I can't reciprocate with you. And what is that? Krishna became very curious. And then in his examination of what Radharani is actually experiencing, he came to know that she is experiencing something which I am not able to, because I am the object of her worship. I am the object of her worship. And since it's mentioned that, taking a little track off, it's mentioned that Krishna himself became very attracted to his own beauty. You will see that in the Bala Leela of Krishna, that he saw himself in the jeweled pillar while he was stealing butter. And he stood amazed, and the butter fell from his hands and from his mouth. Said, "Who is this?" He saw an amazing picture of himself in the jeweled pillar, and he was stunned to see the beauty of himself. Rudanta muhur netram yugma mrijantam karam bhoja yugmena satanka netram muhuschumbitam bimba raktadaram manasya virashta madam lakshalapai. That was the beauty that is being described, that Yashoda was kissing the beautiful face of Krishna. He himself saw and he was stunned at his own beauty. This is not like the material world, a narcissistic, makeup of yourself in front of the mirror. You fall in love with your own image, your materialistic image. This is absolute, supreme truth, looking at his own beauty. So it's a completely different platform. So therefore, Krishna wanted to be in a position of appreciating his own beauty, relishing it the way Radharani is doing. And he sort of coveted Radharani's position. And since he is the Supreme Lord and he has the powers, he became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, assuming the mood of Radharani, wanting to taste her position, wanting to taste the mellows that Radharani is, he himself is known for, and wanting to taste the amazing experience that Radharani was having. That's how great Radharani is. To know exactly and place Radharani in coordinates in our knowledge, in our realization, in our experience of Krishna consciousness. We can at the most scratch the surface a little bit with some knowledge. So this is the background. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself, who is very eager to taste what Radharani is tasting in terms of prema, rasas, bhava, mahabhava. Mahabhava is what Radharani is climaxed in, and he's coming to taste that. So we can somewhat get an idea. So I want to actually always read something from Prabhupada's book. So I'm going to just read a little bit from Chaitanya Charitamrita to aid our own understanding of this a little deeply. I'm going to read to you from Adi Leela, 4th chapter, where the appearance of Lord Chaitanya is discussed. And there is obviously a understanding of who Lord Chaitanya is. And while describing who Lord Chaitanya is, it is difficult not to speak about Radharani. So I will read a little few verses. From the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm reading Adi Leela, chapter 4, shloka 68, if anybody wants to follow it. Hladinira sara prema prema sara bhava bhavera parama kashta nama mahabhava. The essence of the Hladini potency is love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion, bhava. And the ultimate development of emotion is mahabhava, purport. Oh, thank you. You're sharing it on the screen for everybody. Thank you very much. The essence of the Hladini potency is love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion or bhava. And the ultimate development of emotion is mahabhava. Purport. The product of Hladini Shakti is love of Godhead, which has two divisions, namely pure love of God and adulterated love of God. Only when the Hladini Shakti emanates from Sri Krishna and is bestowed upon the living being to attract him does the living being become a pure lover of God. But when the same Hladini Shakti is adulterated by the external material energy and emanates from the living being, it does not attract Krishna. On the contrary, the living being becomes attracted by the glamour of the material energy. At that time, instead of becoming mad with love of Godhead, the living being becomes mad after material sense enjoyment. And because of his association with the qualitative modes of material nature, he is captivated by its interactions of distressful, unhappy feelings. Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radha Thakurani Sarva Guna Khani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Sri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhava. She is the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. I'll go ahead and read the shlokas. Tayorapi ubhayor madhye radhika sarvatadhika mahabhava swarupeyam gunair ativariyasi. Of these two gopis, Radharani and Chandravali, Srimati Radharani is superior in all respects. She is the embodiment of Mahabhava and she surpasses all in good qualities. Krishna prema bhavita yanra chittendriya kaya Krishna nija shakti radha tridhara sahaya. Her mind, senses and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy and she helps him in his pastimes. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibha vithabhi sthabirya eva nija rupataya kalavi goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord who resides in his own realm Goloka with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and embodies the ecstatic potency Hladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. So, now please listen to how Lord Krishna's consorts help him taste rasa and how they help in his pastimes. So this is interesting. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds: the goddess of fortune, the queens and the milkmaids of Vraja, who are all foremost of all. These consorts all proceed from Radhika. Just as the fountainhead Lord Krishna is the cause of all incarnations, so Sri Radha is the cause of all these consorts. So, here is a description of who is Radharani. Philosophically, Radha Tattva we can understand. And that Srimati Radharani is hidden in the Bhagavatam. The whole Bhagavatam is about the inner, deep affair of the topmost association of Krishna and his enjoyment with Radharani. This is the Bhagavatam that is mentioned in Lord Chaitanya's this thing. Aradito Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Iti Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ridam Tatra Dharana Paraya. That Lord Chaitanya's teachings to us, instructions to us, is to worship the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is Rajaisha Tanaya, the Lord of Vrindavan, son of Nanda Maharaj. And so also is his holy land Dhama worshipable, Tat Dhama Vrindavanam. And how to worship? Ramya Kachit Upasana. To worship it like the beautiful maidens, gopis of Vrindavana. And follow in the footsteps of the Vrindavan Vasis. Vrajavardu Vargeya Kalpita. And where is this given? Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. The proof of this is Srimad Bhagavatam. Prema Pumarto Mahan. The love of God is the Panchama Purushartha. It's the topmost value. It is the real goal of life. And this is what is Lord Chaitanya's teachings. And this is what the Bhagavatam is about, the core of the Bhagavatam. And in the core of the Bhagavatam, you will see is the 10th canto with 90 chapters. And in that, all the Goswamis tell us that the Rasa Leela is the pinnacle of that performance. And in the Rasa Leela, you'll see all these things coming into force. What is Krishna enjoying? What are the gopis enjoying? And what is the topmost goal of life? And that we can get from Lord Chaitanya. It is Lord Chaitanya who is the real authority on Radharani. Only Krishna can reveal Radharani. And he came as Lord Chaitanya and he only made Radharani famous. Till then, worship was only for Krishna. Even Vajranabha installed only Krishna deities. You will see Keshava, you will see all these deities that he installed. He installed Krishna deities, but later Radharani was added after Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Because he propounded this amazing philosophical understanding plus gave us an understanding of the goal of life. So it's Lord Chaitanya who's the real authority on that. And we are following Lord Chaitanya. Brajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. We follow Lord Chaitanya's teaching, so therefore we are following the Brajavasis. Very simple. It's not that we have to go to Vrindavan and spend time there, become a Babaji, follow some other Babaji, and slowly become one. That's not what Prabhupada has taught us. He has asked us to follow what he has mentioned as a practice. And by practicing this, basically, gradually you'll be led to experiencing that love of the gopis. This faith we must have. This faith we must have. That the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will lead us to the highest experience. And this great love of Godhead that Lord Chaitanya is speaking of inside the Bhagavatam, and that's what Shukadeva Goswami is conversing to Maharaj Parikshit about. But when we read it, we don't actually see that fully because it is hidden. Parokshavada. Krishna is telling that I like to keep this hidden and speak about it indirectly. So to mine that from the Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami is mining it. And to actually explain that to us, Krishna himself has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has explained that to us both as a person Bhagavat and also in the form of the Bhagavat. So Prabhupada explains that Lord Chaitanya is person Bhagavat. And this is what he's showing. He's showing the greatness of the love of the gopis. He's showing us the greatness of the love of Radharani. That's why he is asking us to chant Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna offenselessly, purely, you can also come to the stage of experiencing what the gopis are experiencing, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing. That's the deep secret. That is the mind information from the Bhagavatam. And that's what Lord Chaitanya is. That's why the Bhagavatam is telling throughout chant Hare Krishna. It begins with instruction on chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. It ends with instruction on chanting. He says, in the end, the last shloka also speaks about what's that beginning of the last shloka in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I forget that. The last shloka glorifies Harinama Sankirtanam. And in between, Prahalad is glorifying, and, name it, Bhishmadev is talking about it. Even Shukracharya is speaking about it to Vamanadev, about the greatness of Harinam. Throughout it's Harinam. And that Harinam will give you the topmost love of Godhead. And this is how we can realize Radharani's love. This is how we can realize the supreme tattva of Radharani. Because Chirad adattam nijagupta vittam swapremna namamritam ati udaraha. Chirad adattam, never before having given this. Dattam means to give in charity. Adatta means never given. Chirad adatam, never before has this been given. Nijagupta vittam. Vittam means treasury. Nijagupta means very deep, internal, confidential, private portion of the treasury of Lord Chaitanya, of Krishna. Chirad adattam nijagupta vittam swapremna, love for himself. Namamritam, in the form of the holy name, the nectar of the holy name. Ati udaraha, because he is super merciful. He is taking out from the deep internal treasury of his what is very precious to him. Nijagupta vittam. And he's giving it in the form of the holy name. So the holy name is the most coveted possession of Krishna himself. Because if you chant the holy name, you get pure love. Chant the holy name, you get pure love. So simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra very carefully, offenselessly, purely, sincerely, we can climb up to the stage of the experience of the gopis. And this is what Lord Chaitanya has come to show as a devotee. He is a devotee and he's coming to show us this. So this tattva of Radharani is so deeply entwined in our own practice. It's not too far away, actually. But we make it far away because we are not able to chant purely. We are not able to get rid of all the material desires we have. We are not able to practice that attachment instantly. So we get entangled in many different ways and our progress is slowed. But a person who is, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. Tivra Bhakti. In Tamil Nadu and in Kerala, Tivravadi means terrorist. It's a very similar word they use. If you say Tivravadi, it means terrorist. So Tivrena Bhakti Yogena means with such focus, almost like a terrorist, you practice bhakti. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. So when devotees do that and chant the holy name, then they actually can become very quickly qualified to achieve this. So this is Radharani, and this is Radharani's tattva. And it is so great that even Krishna is coming to taste it as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in so doing, Lord Chaitanya is actually showing us who is Radharani and how Radharani is accessible to you. Sometimes people ask, Radharani is so much up in the clouds and we are not in that bhava, gopi bhava and all that. Is it something separate? How do we approach Radharani and how we can get her mercy and all that? Our process is to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reach Radharani. Because here is Radharani. This is in the mood of Radharani. Radha, Bhava, Suvalita, Naumi Krishna Surupam. It is Krishna only has come to give you Radharani through the chanting of the holy name and the experience of Radharani, what she is experiencing also through the chanting of the holy name. This is the reality. We are not very much far away from Radharani's mercy. If we chant Hare Krishna very sincerely, we are tying up and we are accessing the mercy of Srimati Radharani. This is Krishna's special mercy. Not only did he enjoy Radharani's position, mellows and everything, and he became so ecstatic doing that, he gave it to others. He gave it to everybody in the form of the holy name. This is our understanding of Radharani Tattva and how we are not very separated, but we can separate ourselves by not being able to chant the holy name purely, not being able to access that. So much for Radharani Tattva. Lalita, one of the Ashtasakis, closest servants of Radharani, assistants of Radharani, the Sakis of Radharani. You see in Mayapur we have Radharani and Ashtasakis. Is Lalita. Lalita and Vishaka on either side of Radha and Krishna you can see. And Lalita is a very principal gopi, very close assistant. And each one of them have got peculiar, wonderful characteristics. Lalita is known to be a very close assistant, a sort of giving the flavor of the left-wing flavor and advising Radharani on the left-wing flavor. She gives the right time, right advice to Radharani so that Radha and Krishna will enjoy deeper rasas, exciting deeper rasa. She is 27 days senior to Radharani. And always Lalita Ashtami, Lalita Sashti comes before Radha Ashtami. So we are celebrating that in remembrance. So we cannot appreciate Lalita without understanding something about Radharani. So that's why I thought that initially we should know something about that. Of course, all of you know all these things. You must have heard from many great personalities in the movement. I am just speaking a little bit of the understanding that I have realized a little bit on myself. So Lalita, it is explained that her place is Unchagaon. In the Parikrama path, sometimes we go to Unchagaon, Barshana and Unchagaon and all that. Her place, all the Ashtasaki's places are around Barshana. Unchagaon is the place where she appeared to Sharada Devi and Vishoka. And her husband's name is Govardhana. And she particularly excels, like I mentioned, in assisting Radharani. And she can become harsh on Krishna many times. And many times she also, it's mentioned that when Radha and Krishna get into a problem and there is a difficulty in them coming together, then she is the mediating factor. She does very wonderful mediation to bring them together. And she also takes part in conducting the pastimes of Radharani and maneuvering and navigating it very wonderfully. So these are all simple things mentioned about Lalita. I thought that I should relate to you a little pastime. There are many pastimes that you would have heard from many personalities who reside in Vrindavan. I'm not a Vrindavan Vasi. I am a person who didn't have that luxury. I don't have that blessing of being in Vrindavan and enjoying staying in Vrindavan and serving in Vrindavan. But I do hear these pastimes from those devotees who stay there and who are able to relish them. There is a pastime mentioned on the way to Parikrama that I thought would be relevant, involving Lalita. There's one that you know about, the jackal that, the boys in Vrindavan went hounding it and torturing it with fire and everything, and then Lalita and Radharani get involved. I think you must have heard about that. There's another one which I like very much is when Krishna gets dressed as a girl. Her name is Kalavali, and Kundalata specifically dresses Krishna with full female attire, and she looks extremely beautiful because Krishna manifests his beauty by his own energies. So as Kalavali, she looked very beautiful, so stunningly beautiful. And Krishna was also walking like that. His gait, everything changed, and he adapted himself. He's nato natyataro yata. As Kunti Devi said, you are a fantastic dramatic performer in the drama. So when he has to perform as a girl, he does that very nicely. He changed everything about him. So he goes with Kundalata, and Kundalata, introduces her into the group. And Radharani, everybody looks at her and says, wow, what a beautiful girl. Who is this? And she looks very sharp. And then Kundalata introduced her and says, she's just coming from the heavenly planets. She's a disciple of Brihaspati. She has learned the arts from Brihaspati, and she's an amazing singer. And then looking at Kalavali, everybody thought, oh, she sure must be. Wow, she sure must be. She looks like she's good at everything. And then, Krishna put on that wonderful look, Kalavali, all types of Kala, all type of arts. And then she was introduced to Radharani. And Krishna, as soon as he saw Radharani, he had to keep himself controlled. But he played that role too very well, it seems. He controlled himself, and Radharani saw, wow, so nice, wonderful, please sing. I heard that you're an amazing singer. So everybody sat down, and Radharani was on her throne. She's the queen of Vrindavaneshwari. So she sat down on a throne, and then Kalavali sang. It's the supreme absolute truth. Krishna singing. Can you imagine how it would be? Who beat every great singer under the sun. He sang in a beautiful woman's voice. It was so wonderful that Radharani got completely amazed at the song. And she was feeling so good. She instantly took out her necklace and said, I want to give you this as a reward. At that moment, Lalita quickly rushed to Radharani and held her hand and said into her ears, this is not Kalavali. This is that rascal Krishna who's come dressed as a girl. Watch out. She immediately gave the information. Because this types of key information she'll give in the Leela, Lalita. She'll find out. She finds out very fast, and she's got amazing network of people doing things. Another reason why, anyway, I will come to that. So as soon as she said that, Radharani immediately, her eyes widened, she controlled herself immediately. And she said, oh, wonderful, what a nice idea you gave me. Oh, thank you very much, Lalita. See, I just don't want to give you the jewel alone. I want to give you full clothing. Take away your clothing. I'll give you a new set of dress and jewels and everything. So please take away your clothing. And then Kalavali was a little stunned. And so also was Kundalata, who had very carefully dressed up Krishna. So both of them were blinking, wow, and looking at each other. What do I do now? What do I do now? So then she said, no, it's okay. You can give me the jewel. I'll accept that. He said, no. I want to give you a full set of dress. I want to give you a nice, undergarment and overgarment and this and that, a veil and, you know, jewels, and I want to give you a nose ring. I want to give you everything together, full set. Because I'm so pleased, Lalita just told me that this is what she should give to her. So, you know, I like to give you all these things. And said, no, no, no. So why are you afraid? You said, we are all ladies here. We're all women here. You don't have to worry at all. You can take out and change your dress. And then I will help you. And then they started, you know, pushing Kalavali to take off her dress. I found this very amusing. And she was forced to take out a dress. And she took out a dress, all the stuff fell down. All the makeup and all the different types of embellishments that were made on her to make her Kalavali just fell down. And everybody started laughing. And Krishna was blinking what to do. And then all the gopis turned away from him, it's mentioned. Because it was so funny that he was undressed. And they all turned away from him and started laughing like nothing. And Krishna, all he could do, along with Kundalata, was look at it, and he also started laughing. And they all were in this hasya rasa, this wonderful conjugal, this thing of hasya rasa. They all started bursting into laughter. And then instantly Lalita came in again and said, okay, enough. Now you go out. She told Kalavali, now you can pick up your dress and you can get out. Very harsh, she spoke. And it's mentioned that Krishna was initially crying, you know, when this thing, undressing thing happened. After that, he started laughing. When he was laughing also, he started crying. So he said, okay, that's okay. And he put back his dress exactly like that. He put back his dress in front of everybody like that. And then he started crying and going outside. And he was wondering what's happening. He went outside and immediately went to Radharani's house. He went to her house and fell at the feet of Radharani's mother-in-law, Jyotila. And he rolled down and started crying. Kalavali, so beautiful looking, rolling and crying under the feet of Jyotila. She said, what happened? What happened? You don't know me. You look so beautiful. You're so wonderful. Who are you? I am your daughter-in-law's friend. She has insulted me. She doesn't want to see me. She doesn't want to show a company. She's not giving me a company, etc. She made a complaint. I don't want to live. I'm going to die. I'm going to commit suicide. Is there anything that you can do? You're the last resort. If you can do something for me, otherwise I'll die. I said, why are you talking? Why are you talking all these negative things? After all, it is just my daughter-in-law. I know her very well. I know what to do. Don't worry, don't worry. And all that thing happened. And a big scene he made. And then she took Kalavali, knocked at Radharani's door, opened the door, and he said, this is your friend. And she very much desires your company. How dare you do? I order you. And she put both their hands together and said, become friends with her. And said, embrace each of you. And they both embraced each other. And Radharani and Krishna embraced themselves. And they were in great ecstasy. And all the gopis around were laughing and turning their face away. What an amazing Leela Krishna played. And what instrument Lalita was in it. And how these things happened. And both of them were embracing each other and talking to each other and said, I'll leave you alone now. You've become friends. She shut the door. And Radha and Krishna had their pastimes. So this is one Leela that I have heard in the Parikrama, which I thought is very interesting. When Krishna starts performing his Leela, he energizes it with his supreme majesty and his power also as the supreme personality of Godhead. He can dress as a woman and be amazingly good. He can do these things so good because he's a supreme Lord. So his pastimes become so perfect and they become very relishable because of their perfect nature. And in this way, Lalita played this role. Somebody will be wondering how Lalita is connected. Lalita's chief assistant is Rupa Manjari. And it's Rupa Manjari who appeared as Rupa Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam. Rupa Goswami understood very well what is in the heart of Lord Chaitanya. Why has he come here? What does he plan to do? So Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam. So he established that. What Lord Chaitanya desired, he established that. And Lord Chaitanya was amazingly happy with Rupa Goswami because he understood his art. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. It is so wonderful that Lord Chaitanya gave Rupa Goswami his Upadesh in the Shashvamedha Ghat. For 10 days, every day spoke to him, this essence. And he understood it so well that he wrote down a shloka, summarizing, conceptualizing it so nicely. And he was with Haridas Thakur, so he put it on the roof, on the hut's roof, and went to take his bath thoughtfully. But by the time he came back, Lord Chaitanya entered to see Haridas Thakur. He comes to see him every day. And he saw this, this thing, shloka written, put up here. So he read it. As he was reading it, he became stunned. Because who has understood me so well? And then Rupa Goswami was coming then from his bath. He came there and he paid his obeisances and stood by and watched Lord Chaitanya read this. He was very grave. And Lord Chaitanya looked at him very gravely. And just by looking, he was trying to verify, did you write this? And Rupa Goswami, with his eyes, indicated yes. And then he walked up to Rupa Goswami, took a step and gave him a slap on the face. This is very amazing. How did you know this about me? He was so happy. And he gave an affectionate slap to Rupa Goswami and said, how did you know this about me? And Rupa Goswami said nothing. And Lord Chaitanya took that and went and asked Swarup Damodar Goswami, how is it possible that Rupa Goswami knows this about me? Swarup Damodar Goswami is his personal secretary. She is Vishaka, the personal secretary. So he said that it must be because you have told him that. Because there's no other way of somebody knowing these things which are so confidential to you unless you tell it. And the Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, yes, I said it, but I never knew he would pick it up so well. And then after that, it's mentioned Lord Chaitanya glorified Rupa Goswami as though he had 5 mouths, 10 mouths, and he was glorifying him. So this is our connection with Lalita. Lalita's chief assistant. The assistant who goes and undresses Kalavali is Rupa Manjari. She tells, I will help you to undress. It's Rupa Manjari who undresses Kalavali. So we have a connection through Lalita. Lalita's chief assistant is Rupa Manjari. And Rupa Goswami's teachings is what we are all based on. We are all Rupanugas. So in this way, we can get a little understanding of Lalita and Lalita Devi's mercy we can opt for. And by opting for Lalita Devi's mercy, we can actually be able to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. We can take this Lalita Sashti to be a precursor to Radhashtami, in the sense that Lalita Sashti helps us to prepare our heart, our consciousness for approaching Radharani and making a sensible, reasonable, valuable prayer and petition for getting pure love of God. We can't go to Radharani with any other type of a prayer, right? Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. So sometimes we talk about these things very casually, but actually these are very exotic, esoteric topics in one sense. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, there is a path, a very doable, workable path. And if we keep on that path very strictly by following the instructions given by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the instructions of Lord Chaitanya that he has taught us, if we keep on that track, it's quite possible that we can be hopeful of getting the mercy of Radharani. So this Lalita Shashti, we can pray to Lalita and petition her. She being such a close Sakhi, associate of Radharani, we can actually offer our prayers that we may be able to access the mercy of Radharani on Radhashtami. So in that way, we can offer our prayers to Lalita Devi. We may not be able to grasp all the very exotic subject matters in their depth. Although sometimes we try to do that in the form of readings and in the form of sometimes trying to adopt those feelings artificially. But the reality is that we may not be able to do that so easily. That's why Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada has given us the process. And as sadhakas, if we perform that process sincerely, then gradually we can actually purify ourselves, elevate ourselves to a position wherein we'll be able to access the mercy of Radharani and actually experience love of Godhead. This is what we are after as devotees. Our process is a process that gives us experience. It's not just knowledge. By hearing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, by hearing the gopis' pastimes with Krishna, by hearing Radharani's pastimes here and there, we can understand the exalted nature of those experiences. So much so that Shukadeva Goswami did not even mention with his tongue, Anayaradhito Nunam. He did not use the word Radharani itself because they were so, exalted in their affection and love and prema for Krishna. So we can at least get to know about it. When we get to know about it, when we have knowledge about it, then we can start desiring it. And as we hear these things from Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, we desire it. Then there's a great desire in us to actually make ourselves pure. The impetus for doing chanting offenselessly comes in. And then by executing that offenseless chanting, by respecting devotees and Vaishnavas nicely, by cultivating good relationships, and patiently, humbly executing devotional service, we become qualified that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the recommendation of Guru and Krishna and the Parampara, may consider that we may be proper recipients for pure love of Godhead. This is our only hope. Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. It's exactly 50 minutes past, 1 hour past 4:50. So I thought you people are very busy, executive, working people, and you have given this pure, half-naked fakir of a sadhu a little bit of a time from your busy life. I don't want to take more of that time. So here I stop so that I don't make more of a flamboyant exhibition of my ignorance about Lalita and Radha and Krishna and Krishna consciousness. This is enough challenge for me already. I am a day-to-day worker in Prabhupada's movement. Morning to evening, I do a lot of gross things. A building is coming up, there's other things going on, and lots of stuff going on. So this is my puny understanding of Lalita and Radharani. Please excuse me if it didn't come up to the expectations. Om Tat Sat. Any questions or comments that you would like to shoot on this, Swami?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
One second. Yes.
What a fantastic class of, blending the tattva and rasa, and also giving us a positive hope that if we are doing what we are doing carefully, we can reach there. Such a wonderful class, and I cannot even give a feedback properly because I have been nourished by these classes Sunday after Sunday for 10 years in my life.
It may be that I've become an expert at those classes. I'm an expert externally at it. Inside, nobody knows. Only
Maharaj,
I know.
We can't defeat you, but we can just humbly, accept that this, because of this costless mercy of hearing these classes so analytically, so logically, and so nicely given to us, I'm able to get the taste for reading and chanting, and I'm still alive, and I'm so much. It's all due to you and your classes and your example. So thank you so much, Maharaj.
But I have one fan in Charlotte.
Maharaj?
I said I have one fan in Charlotte.
No, one among the many, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your feedback. I take that to heart. That you are appreciative of my little sharing of the realizations in Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. If anybody has any questions or comments, please go ahead now.
Maharaj, there is a question on chat.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is from Rasika Keshava Das and Rani Satyabhama Devidasi. Thanks for this enlightening class. Just a basic question. You mentioned Lalita Sakhi is 27 days older to Srimati Radhika, but then why do we celebrate her appearance day only 2 days before Radha Ashtami? Well, it needs an astrologer or somebody who knows these technical details. I told you I'm a gross guy. I don't know these subtle details. But these are details. Maybe there is somebody who knows that. I really don't know. What I read is that she's 27 days elder to Radharani. And that's known to quite a few people. But why it's only 2 days and how it gets translated into the chart in this way, maybe Bhanu Maharaj can answer. He will be the right person. He knows both sides of this. Yeah. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
Thank you for such a nourishing class. Very, very grateful for setting our mood for Radha Ashtami. Maharaj, you mentioned about chanting. So my question is,
I'm a personalist. I like to know who is talking.
This is Anuradha Devidasi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maharaj, so my question is, you spoke twice in the beginning, in the end, especially about chanting. So I am very new to this Krishna consciousness. So my question is, what should be our mood before we start chanting, and even after we have completed our round?
Well, our moods can actually develop and graduate into more intimate moods. In the beginning stages, when we are doing offensive chanting, like it says, offensive chanting, clearing stage, and then perfected Shuddhanama. So mostly we are chanting, and right in the initial stages, we're chanting because it's an order. It's a sadhana. Just like sometimes we are reading because it's a sadhana. That's why we fall asleep over the book. Or we attend Bhagavatam class because it's a sadhana only. And that's the type of mood we are in. We must attend Bhagavatam class. So we sit down and we sleep. So, but still it's very good. Gradually, as we do that more and more, we stay awake while reading and we start discovering things. And the same way, as we chant first dutifully, and then as we chant with a little more taste, gradually your moods also change. One is the great mood of feeling that I'm not good in my chanting. I am actually very offensive and I'm like this. That's a particular mood of anxiety and feeling. And then gradually, as a person goes through for some more time and he renders service, and he, especially if you're in ISKCON and you're rendering service, you get shaped up like nothing. ISKCON is actually a fantastic machine that gives you all the shaping that's required. A few taps this side, a few whacks on your butt, a few this thing here, and a knock on the head. You really get shaped up, unbeknownst to you. All you need to do is to stay here. And if you keep chanting, after some time you settle down. You're sort of become very humble. With all the knocks you've got and all the this thing you got, you become pretty humble. And your chanting becomes very nice, actually. It becomes very nice. Then the mood is different. And the mood is very different. And then gradually, as you chant more and more, then you get to maybe have a grip or some understanding of what you're reading in the Nectar of Devotion, what you're reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Wow, this is really good. I've been reading this again and again, but now it feels very different, right? So this way your moods change. According to that, don't try to adopt a mood that is not naturally coming to you. Don't have to say, I should be in the mood of Radharani. I should be, don't do all that. Just chant simply. Chant and hear. Chant and hear. Automatically, from the purification comes a mood. It's not that you have to adopt a mood. How can you adopt these conscious levels? But the best thing you can do is to remain surrendered to the situation, remain surrendered to hearing the holy name, to chanting the holy name. Just be simple and as humble as possible. And take the holy name as a great gift given to you by Krishna and chant. Accept the holy name as Krishna himself having arrived to enter your mouth, sit on your tongue, and have you take this great opportunity to associate with Krishna through sound vibration, right? So be in a simple mood, which is a possible mood. What's practical, organic, simple, and possible. Of course, you know the theory that love of God is everything, Radharani's love is great, and Lalita and everything you know. But you adopt what is most natural, organic, and practical. Okay?
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
That is an affirmation of yourself and your relationship with the holy name. That's enough.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Haribol, Anuradha. Yes. Sita Rani Devidasi has also raised her hand, a digital hand.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes. I want to thank you so much for including us in this program. It was really nourishing. And you have 2 fans in Delhi as well. So,
yes. I think this invitation has been clubbed. My assistant has clubbed this invitation.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes,
thank
Maharaj.
you. Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai Ho, how are you?
Prabhu. Very good, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Anand
Yes. Okay. So Lalitangi, and where is Shamagori? Yes, yeah. Shamagori. Anybody else?
Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Oh, Haribol from Baltimore.
Yes, Pradyumna Prabhu from Baltimore, Maharaj.
Yeah, how are you, Pradyumna ji?
Fine, Maharaj. Yes, Radha Ashmi is coming, so we are very busy for preparing Radha Ashmi celebration, you know.
Haribol.
Haribol, Jai Maharaj.
That's a great temple you have.
Good, Maharaj. We miss you this year. So next year, definitely you have to come Baltimore, and like we were talking.
You mean you want to wait for 1 year for me to come virtually on Zoom again?
No, we come and I will invite you in Zoom. We started Zoom program, Maharaj. Definitely is good, very good. I was expecting that one, that you will come to the Zoom program. Right?
The only disadvantage is I don't get to eat all the prasadam. They gave me all virtual prasadam. It is not really so good. The other stuff is okay.
Right. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please do come. So we'll arrange next program, Maharaj.
Sure.
Yeah, yes.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yes, Shamagoji.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for accepting the invitation and giving class. And it was really very nice. And Maharaj, you have one more fan in Charlotte, not just Lalitangi, me too. I joined the classes on Facebook, and that's why I thought I should invite here. Yeah. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you for fanning my false ego.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
This is Pratibha here from Chennai. First I have met you in Bangalore in the Janmashtami program. You have been there for a program there. So I'm a fan of you right from the day I started. I mean, I have seen you, Maharaj, and I used to see all your classes. Like, I used to listen to all your classes.
Okay, Pratibha ji, thank you. You have a
Thank
question?
you, Maharaj.
Okay. Right, Sanchari Devidasi, she is also here.
Hare
Wow.
Krishna Maharaj, please accept all humble
Hari
obeisances,
Bol.
Maharaj. You have more fans, Maharaj, since long back. Thank
Where
you
are
so
you from?
much. I'm right
You're in
now at my
Andhra.
hometown.
You're in Andhra.
No, Maharaj, I'm back in UP.
Oh, you're back in
I'm
UP.
at my father's place, but my husband is there in Mangalore. He's also listening to
Yeah,
you.
Mangalore. I saw you in Mangalore. All right.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. It was very nice
Hari
listening
Bol.
to you after a long time. And
Hari
I
Bol.
hope you're doing well with your health. So
Hare
nice
Krishna.
to see
Nice
you.
meeting you.
Yes,
Nice
yes.
meeting all of you. Okay, there's a question here from Sutapa Das. So just wanted to understand, can we decipher from the lecture that in order to get mercy of Srimati Lalita Devi, we should be sincerely following the footsteps of Rupa Goswami as Rupa Manjari, a personal assistant of Lalita Devi? Yeah, sure. That's also a tangential conclusion that you can have, because Prabhupada and all of us coming down in the line, we are all called Rupa Anugas. We're following the instruction of Rupa Goswami. We have a deep connection with Lalita Devi in the form of her main assistant, Rupa Manjari, giving us the teachings, Nectar of Devotion, name it, all the wonderful books that we're following that Prabhupada has written. Yeah, in one sense, that's a connection. Okay, thank you. Om Tat Sat, Hari Bol. Wonderful meeting with all of you. I'm feeling like sitting and chatting and spending my time. But then the call of duty, there are other things people are waiting for, so I'll attend. I hope to come back to you again and spend more time on more innocent things, casual things, rather than heavy tattva and stuff and everything. Okay? Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hari Bol, Lalitangi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your very nectarian class and enlightening us on this.
Hare Krishna.
I look forward for your association, Maharaj. If nobody have any questions, we can end the call here and pay our obeisances to Maharaj. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Swami Maharaj